Hi everyone, welcome to Admit Abroad's webinar. Our webinar's topic today is the pace of US education amidst COVID 2019 pandemic. Now we'll be focusing on the current situation in the US and how it has and will affect education. We know how the media has really caused a frenzy and the articles and the news that is being circulated on a daily basis in India has created a lot of problems and confusion for students and even at some level scared students. And therefore, we thought and do believe that it's really important for all of us to know and hear about the current situation from someone who's not only living in the US, but also um, has been dealing with US education on a daily basis over there. So we are proud to present our panelists today, one of whom is Mr. Victor Finch, who is the Director of International Admissions at the University of Toledo in Ohio in the US. He has been extensively traveling throughout the globe for recruitment, student recruitment for international admissions. And we can't thank him enough for making the time today to join us in this webinar. Our next panelist is Mrs. Shweta Apte, who is the Associate Dean of International Programs at AdmitAbroad. So we thank her for really organizing all of this and making sure that we really do well during this webinar and kind of shed light on and really help students out in this trying time. So again, they'll be shedding light on and their own views on the opportunities and all the situation that's going on in the US. And after that's done, we'll be open to your questions. So I would like to kindly ask Shweta ma'am to take this forward now.
Yeah. So hello everyone, this is Shweta, and as Shubhra has already introduced me, I am the Associate Dean for International Programs at AdmitAbroad. And today I'm going to shed some light about what parents' anxieties are and how the students and the parents are coping up with this unprecedented event which we hadn't thought of when we decided to recruit students and they were set to fly in this fall. So there are different aspects of this current crisis. May it be this education on campus, may it be the payment of the tuition fee, or may it be deferment of the admission to the next semester. So there are a lot of questions in students and parents' mind, and last couple of months, me and probably Victor too are handling these queries continuously from different parents and the students. So we will take them one by one. So over to you.
Sorry, Shweta. Are you able to hear me, Shweta?
Yeah.
Okay, you froze up on your last 1 minute or so.
Oh.
Was there? Okay, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I just mentioned that could you shed some light regarding the present situation in the United States with this COVID crisis?
Sure. Well, thank you very much, guys, for having me this morning, my time. Behind me, it's all rain this morning, so it's a different type of weather. But the situation in the United States, I think, is complicated to say the least. Probably made more complicated because of our politicians, probably. But we do have a lot of cases, about 1.4 million cases in the United States. But it really depends on where you're at in the United States on how bad it is. I live in the state of Michigan. We border the state of Ohio where the University of Toledo is. So in our state, our governor was quite proactive. We have about 45,000 active cases. In Ohio, where the governor was very proactive, there's about 22,000 cases. So it really depends on where you're going. in the United States. New York City was hit incredibly hard. And New York City is, I guess I would compare it to a small Mumbai, but people live very close together. So early in the outbreak, that was hit very hard. In the last 3 weeks, everything is starting to stabilize. The city of Detroit, where our students fly into, was another very hard hit area. We have now flattened the curve, as they say. So the cases have smoothed out. They're starting to drop. We're still on lockdown in the state of Michigan and in the state of Ohio until the end of the month. They are starting to open back up right now. Our automobile manufacturing starts again on Monday, but at 25% capacity. You can do takeaway from restaurants, but still no dining inside of restaurants. So things are starting to get back to normal. The campus at the University of Toledo is still completely shut down. We've been shut down since the middle of March. My sons finished the semester online, as did a lot of everybody had to just finish online. So we are planning on opening again this fall, but at a limited basis. Right now, we're looking at 70% of the classes being still taught online, 30% face-to-face. No classes are going to have more than 15 students. We're going to social distance everything on campus. But it's a unique time. I think a lot of people were very scared when it first came out. Now we've all adapted. We're keeping the elderly completely locked down. My mother-in-law lives with us, who's 89 years old. She's not been out of the house. So it's a unique, it's so challenging right now. And for somebody who does fly around the world, my last trips of the year, I was in Sri Lanka. So I came through Mumbai, and that's in Sri Lanka. I had my temperature check getting off the airplane before I went into hotels. That was the start of everything. That was in February. And then it just completely went crazy. India, I think, has been kind of the last major country to start dealing with the pandemic. It seems like just 3 weeks ago, there was only 500 cases in India. And now I think there's got to be close to 80,000 right now. So it's different. But I think we have a lot of protocols put in place to try to stop the spread of the pandemic. And that's the main thing. We have testing, we have contact tracing. So if somebody gets it, like we're going to start on campus, we'll have assigned seats for all of our classrooms. So if a student comes down with that virus, we know who else sat in that seat. So we can get to that student and we can trace it all the way back to make sure we try to contain it. In my city where I live, we have about 63 cases right now. I'm a very small city, 45,000 people, but we haven't had any cases in the last 4 days. So I think it's getting better, but all of the US embassies are closed still around the world. There's still no deadline on when or date they're going to open. The Canadian US border is still closed. They're going to extend it another 30 days. So it'll be closed until the end of June. Airlines, 95% of all airline travel has completely stopped. So there's really no way for anybody to travel to spread the disease. But we hope we turned a corner. The cases have slowed dramatically. They've slowed, but we are at 1.4 million cases in the United States. Does that help, Shweta? Is that kind of what you're looking for?
Yeah, right. I mean, even I have been in continuous touch with the students, our students who are already into the partner universities studying their programs midway. And I just happened to speak to them. But amidst this entire crisis, I mean, I would like to make it a mention that United States or the American universities have shown complete, what you can say, they have taken care of the international students. I mean, to mention our students, as Victor mentioned, that the university closed down sometime by mid-March, and the students were practically asked to vacate the accommodations. But since the students couldn't travel back to India, the university arranged an apartment for the students and gave them food vouchers from the places where they can go buy their groceries and cook. And presently, a good news is a group of 7 students who were already into the California University have got their placements also, and tomorrow they are moving to Texas. So fortunately, the interstate transportation is on in the United States, and students are able to move. So I mean, yes, the United States is hit badly and hit probably the most. But then, as Victor said, there has been seen a lot of improvement in the present situation, and things are getting to its normalcy. So the situation is now slightly improving. However, many students whom we counsel who were scheduled to join different university, whether it is University of Southern California or any university for that matter, they have offered the students a couple of options. Like they have given students to take the semester online, and or you could say they can defer their academics by semesters, and they can join in the spring term. So which puts students and the parents at ease. Without wasting any more time, students can join online classes and commence their academics. Or else, if they plan to defer by a semester and join in spring, they can utilize this next 6 months as a part of improving their profiles. I mean, they could do some sort of an internships, they could work on some live projects and acquire that kind of an experience exposure in the next 1 semester, and go there in spring with a brighter profile. So I could see if situation improves by around 30th June, uh, then things would be coming to normalcy one more time in United States. But till then, we have to wait and watch and see how this entire pandemic takes shape.
Yeah, very much so, Shweta. Right now, we have planned on opening our campus this fall. We're going to be 70% online, 30% on face-to-face. That's as of right now. California State just announced they're going to do the entire semester online.
Right.
So every university's got these decisions to make. We think we have a pretty good plan for our international students abroad, and this includes our international students who went home, right after we closed the campus, because even those students, they don't need a visa, but right now there's no airfare going between countries. So students can start completely online with us. There's no risk. If 1 week into that online, the students just don't like it, they're able to drop with full refund. We are offering in-state tuition. So again, estimated $5,500 for the tuition. No fees are due until the middle of August. Students are still able to go on the payment plan just as if they were on campus. Academic advising will be completely the same. We think we can make it as normal as possible. And when you're talking about somebody who's my age, 57, almost 58, online classes would scare the heck out of me. My sons, they didn't miss a step. They just kept right on going with classes. Some of the classes will be live. In India, that's going to be quite easy because of the time zone isn't like China. So we will offer as many of those classes live. So you'll actually have the faculty member in front of you when you're taking these classes.
Okay. Victor, we have a question here from a student, and the question is, will this pandemic affect the number of applications in every institute? So I guess he wants to mean that whether, say for example, the students want to defer from fall to say spring, okay, and there are normal definite number of applications in the spring semesters. So will that be reduced in spring, the new applications, because of these existing postponement of the admissions, or the spring fresh admissions will not be hampered?
Yeah, the spring will not be affected at all for applications. Spring in the United States for not only University of Toledo, but any university is relatively a small enrollment period for us. Uh, we expect 236 students on campus, new students on campus this fall. We expect 70 in the spring. So all students who defer to spring will not affect anything whatsoever, will not affect it. We will reissue all of our I-20 starting in September.
Mhm. Okay, and the next question here is, and I'm not clear with this question much, but then I will try to answer this. That the question says, what about the in-house entrance examination for specific college? How will they be conducted?
Yeah,
More specific when? Uh, Basically, if you are talking about the regular examinations which the semester, I mean, the universities are conducting, as per our interaction with the students there existing currently, since the university moved online, the examinations are scheduled online. Few examinations have taken place. However, there has been an notification when I discussed with students in the UK that they will be assessed on the basis of the syllabus which they were taught before the lockdown. They will be evaluated only on the basis of that curriculum, and then they will not get a grade lesser than their earlier year's grade. And the current semester will be assessed based on the existing curriculum. So students in terms of performances, I don't think will be affected much because of the slowdown or lockdown in many universities. They are taking due care of the students vis-a-vis their internal exams as well.
yeah, it's
Okay,
unique, Shweta.
then
Can I just comment on the exams real quick?
yeah.
So if we're talking about entrance exams, so at the University of Toledo, if you're an engineering student or a computer science student, you have to take a chemistry placement test and a mathematic placement test. These are all online placement tests. So students can do that. They usually do it before they even arrive anyway. That will not change whatsoever. All of these exams will be online. Shweta, exactly what you said during the semester. The University of Toledo, we shut down the first part of March. We went completely online. We gave all of the students for this semester the option, pass, fail, or take their letter grade. So my sons, I'll use my one son, Matthew, he had five classes. He had 4 perfect A's and he had 1 B. He was able to take that B and just do pass fail. So it kept his GPA high. Starting this fall, everything will be back to normal. So all of the exams will be online. Uh, and my son, for his chemistry class, he could take it as many times as he wanted. Every time you retook that exam, it's completely new questions. Uh, but it's a very good system. I don't think there'll be an issue at all. That's all I had to say.
Okay. So there is another question that presently, I mean, TOEFL has been allowed to be taken from the residences or from home. Similarly, another examination that is Duolingo, which is also being accepted by many universities as an English language test. But the question asked by a student is whether the tests which are taken at home currently in present situation will be accepted even fall 2021, a year later, or is there any specific time frame to accept the tests which are taken from the residences?
Yep, I believe in the University of Toledo is going to be the same as all universities. They have 2 years. The test is good for 2 years. So IELTS or TOEFL, all good for 2 years.
Okay. Okay, there is a question by Kamini Deshmukh, and she's asking, she's taking medicine from India, studying in medicine, Beijing. she's interested to do a job in the US. So please guide her if she's asking. I mean, she's pursuing her medicine studies in Beijing, but she wants to work in the US. Is there any way by which she can work after finishing her medicine in Beijing?
So if you're okay, so if you're studying medicine, Shweta, you want me to answer or somebody else?
No, you. I'm putting this question to you.
I heard another voice coming through. So studying medicine in India and then coming to the United States it's an interesting question. The medical program at the University of Toledo, because we have our own school of medicine, we have our own hospital. It's different. You go 4 years bachelor's degree, then you do 4 years of medicine, and then you do 3 years of residency. So if you completed your medical degree in India, you're able to come to the United States and do residency right away. Of course, you have to be accepted into a program to do that. So then you're able to start residency. That will then lead you into the H-1B process, which allows you to start working in the United States. So it is possible. It happens all the time with medicine. So the first thing you would do is find a residency program. So University of Toledo is one of them. We have numerous international students in our program for that. So yes, you can do that, but you cannot come directly to the US and start working. You have to be H-1B.
No, I guess she's presently studying in Beijing.
She's studying in
Beijing, China.
Wow.
So is there any way she can come in the US and work there?
So if she's finished her medical degree, then she can do a residency. That's the only way she can come right now, unless she applies to a certain business. Are you familiar with H-1B, Shweta?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the H-1B is the only way foreigners can come into the United States and work. So her best bet is going to be using that medical degree to get a residency. Then she gets to come into the United States with an H-1B. She'll have, usually initial will be 3 years, and then renewed again for an additional 3 years. And then the green card happens after that. So she can do it. It's complicated, but she'll have to find a residency to do that.
Okay. So the next question I see here is the third year engineering students are unable to work on their projects and get internships this year. How would you suggest that they should go about building their profile? Also, will that affect their chances getting an admission for fall 2021? Okay. So let me answer this question. I understand because of this pandemic situation, many businesses are closed down and students are unable to get live working, going to the company and working it out there. But there have been a lot of companies and a lot of businesses which are offering students to work online from their own places. So I recommend students to find out such places who are giving them work from home opportunity, and they can do that. Secondly, if they are unable to get any sorts of this internship, then probably they should focus on learning something online. Okay, there are a lot of sites like Coursera and other sites, or they can even go to MIT and they can do certain programs in the line in which they want to do their masters, and that the present academics which they will take online will support their profile. So these are the two things which the students can definitely think about. And third thing, if both these options don't work for them, then they themselves can take up an independent project and get some output to show it to the university, which needs to be having a substantial output. So which also can work positively as a self-starter or independent student, and can be looked very positively by the university. So these are the three options students definitely can consider in the semester which they will be getting currently. Okay. So let me read out another question. Nikita Mahajan is asking, will the admission process change for fall 2021? Victor, you could answer that.
Yeah. So you want to know if there's going to be a delay?
Sorry?
What was your question again, Shweta?
Yeah, the question is, will the admission process be any different in 2021, or it will remain the same?
Yeah, right now, everything is going to remain the same. So we should have no issue whatsoever for spring 2021 or fall 2021. We really do pray everything is back to normal again by then.
Okay, so the next question I can read here is asked by Sahil, and Sahil is asking, because of the current situation, there will be many of the students opting to go next year instead of this year. At the same time, there will be next year's batch ready. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a tricky question to answer, but then I will like to give some sorts of statistics to address this question. I mean, there was a survey which was done by QS ranking systems, and they, they surveyed about 11,000 Indian students who wanted to fly this fall. And out of them, okay, almost 50% of the students mentioned that they will be deferring their academics by semester. Remaining 50%, and out of those remaining 50%, somewhere around 8% of the students said that they would like to drop the plan. Okay, and the another say around 40% students, few of them decided to even change the destination. So as of now, the dynamics of the admissions are not very clear, but then I don't see a much competitive edge in the next fall. But yes, there are definitely going to be some more international students added to compensate this year's loss. And America, for that matter, is anticipating somewhere around 15% drop in international students because of this pandemic. Those 15% could be added to the next fall, or few of them could move their destination. So it will become competitive, but not to the extent what we are assuming right now. So we definitely need to take that with a pinch of salt, but then add few more brownie points to your profile to get your profile picked up by the good schools. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a question. Rahul is asking if he wants to do a research program. I mean, Victor, this can be handled by you. He wants to do a program by research, and ultimately he wants to take up a PhD program. Should he opt for spring 2021 with respect to job offers or internship? Will that matter? Am I clear with my question?
Yeah, very clear. So PhDs are always an interesting question. Most PhD programs are going to start in the fall. However, most of our PhD applicants are international students, which they're not going to have the opportunity as of right now to come to the United States. So a lot of people would defer. When you're looking at a PhD, don't look at the University of Toledo, the University of Michigan, University of Mumbai. You have to do research into your particular interest. So you're going to select a school based on faculty who have research in your field of study. Then you're going to email those faculty members and you're going to ask them questions number one should be funding. Are they going to fund your position? All of the PhD programs at the University of Toledo are 100% funded. Nobody pays for a PhD at Toledo. They're all, I mean, you become research assistants or teaching assistants, but that's what you want to find out. So before you apply, research every school. You don't want to come to Toledo into our School of Law if you want criminal law. Our law school is business law. So we wouldn't want you to come to us. It's not a good fit. So you can apply for programs in the spring. This spring is going to be completely different than any other program. Most of the times, you're exactly right. You want to apply for fall. But this year, start your search right now for the PhD program that you want, and then contact that department. If it's the University of Toledo, we have the program you're looking for. Email me. I'll put you in touch with the right people, because at the undergraduate level, people like me, I make all the academic decisions, the admission decisions. The master's and PhD, that comes from every department. So I'm in charge of graduate admissions, but I can't admit or deny any student. The department admits you. In a PhD, they're only going to admit students who have the same research interest that they have. So start your search right now. Spring is going to be complicated. Usually I would say don't ever try for spring, but this spring, definitely start looking, because so many positions are going to go unfilled because students just can't come. Some will defer that admission to spring, but they're going to have a deadline on when they have to commit because it's going to open back up. So it's a complicated question, but right now, definitely start looking at that school. If you need any guidance, get my email from Shweta and just send me any questions you have. I'll put you directly in touch with the departments, because that's who's going to give you the best advice.
Thanks, Victor. And then specific to the state of Michigan, a student wants to pursue law, some program in law. So keeping migration in mind, so which country do you suggest? I mean, it is a tough call to take whether it is US or Canada. If she wants to migrate and she wants to do specific law preparation.
So law is an interesting, like I just said a minute ago, our School of Law focuses on business law. So law students always want to apply to the law school that has your interest. If you're interested in human rights, immigration law, that would be the University of Michigan. But you have to take the LSAT exam, which is a law entrance exam. So that gets you through the law side of it. But when you finish law school, you still have to go through the H-1B process. So a law firm has to hire you and then start the immigration process. The advantage right now of going to Canada, and remember, we're only 45 minutes from Canada, so I'm very familiar with it, is that your time in law school actually counts towards your PR card. So you're able to get employed right away. All students are able to work for 3 years, but that 3 years will count towards your 5-year permanent residency card. So if it was me, I would probably look at Canada first. I have no idea about their entrance exams for law school. If you want the best law education I think you can get, it's the United States, or probably the UK is probably second. But it's extremely competitive, very, very, very good schools, but there's only 210 law schools in the United States. So you really have to, again, have your ducks in a row before you apply. If you have an interest in a certain part of law, email me. I'll put you in touch with our international person in the School of Law who can give you a lot of different options and really point you in the right direction.
Right. So we have next question, and the question says, some universities has given an option to go online for this present semester, and then they can go and join the university in the spring semester, completing the degree. I mean, things normalizes, will there be any relaxation in the CPT or OPT rules?
No, CPT and OPT will stay exactly as is right now. So students will still have 1 year of CPT and either 1 year or 3 years of OPT. But nothing's going to change on the law. So if you start classes online at the University of Toledo, we're offering that same option. You have to be in the United States for 2 consecutive semesters before you're allowed to leave campus for OPT or CPT. That will be the same. You still will have to fulfill the 2 semesters. Now, as an undergraduate student with CPT, for us in our computer science and engineering program, you start your first co-op OPT, well, it would be CPT as an undergrad, your 4th semester. So your first semester online, your 2nd and 3rd semester are on campus, then you would leave for co-op. So it does not postpone that at all. But you have to check which university and what that schedule is. School of Business students, exact same thing. It's usually the summer after your 2nd year is when you will leave for an internship. So you're still going to be able to get your first 2 semesters on campus. So it should not impact it at all.
All right. So that takes care of the anxiety aspect. I mean, their OPT rights will not be affected even if they are going to take the semester online presently. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Next question we have is most expected question, Victor, about Mr. President. I mean, he is, and Victor is probably now used to answer the questions related to that, right? All right. The question says, will there be any, because of the policy currently, students are not allowed to move in. So is that going to be a problem? Or will it affect job prospects for the international students? The present condition.
Yeah, well, we've had President Trump now for 3 very, very, very long years. Our election happens again in November. Personally, I hope it ends his presidency, but out of all of the stuff that he says and that he tweets, it really has had no impact at all on international students coming to the United States, international students getting co-op jobs, international students working afterwards. Before President Trump, the University of Toledo, our computer science and engineering program, 93% of our graduates were employed immediately afterwards. It's still 92% today. So it has not affected anything at all. The people that he's really focused on more than anything else are the illegal immigrants coming in from the South. That's a focus of a lot of different people. As an international student, you're a legal immigrant. So you have no problems whatsoever. The H-1B lottery system, because we only have 86,000 H-1Bs a year, has not changed. It has not gotten any smaller. It hasn't gotten any bigger. It's been the same as it has been for years. So there's been no impact at all with our graduates because of Donald Trump.
Right. So I mean, some media articles and news releases creates this kind of uncertainty amongst the students' mind. I mean, we also get a lot of questions when we do a recruitment drive that in Trump's era, are my jobs going to be affected? And fortunately, for most of our programs, almost all our partnership programs, our students have been placed 100%. So see, and whenever we generally talk about the jobs, you should get a job as good as you are. So you need to basically work hard towards making your grades very strong and keep networking doing in the circle around you, and that gets to the job, and good people always will get good jobs. So focus on to getting better at the university level, and having a very strong GPAs out there. Okay, so now let's
Right.
move to the next question here. I can see. Um, all right, the next question says, again, I guess it is a repeated question, but I think students need to be clear with that. The question asks that people are preferring to defer the admissions in present situation. So is it an advisable thing to go in fall 2021 or go in fall 2022? So deferring by one more year. So what would be your call, Victor? I mean, students, should they be postponing by one more year, or they just enjoy?
I think it really depends on everybody's individual situation, um, and what you've done before you come to the University of Toledo. So if you're at Vidyalanka right now and you just finished your second year, I think it's best to look at coming as soon as you can. But I also think, though, you could easily stay at a school like Vidyalanka for another year if you wish. Uh, then just work with us or the school you want to transfer to, and Vidyalanka, to make sure the classes you're taking will transfer in, so you don't lose any time at all. There's going to be an interesting situation for students all over the world right now on, do they defer? Do they continue with a program inside their country? Or do they try to start online? It's an individual question that everybody has to answer themselves with their family and then their current school. If they've not attended a university yet in India, they just got out of high school, there's no problem at all starting a program like Vidyalanka, which is going to save money. The classes we already have that transfer directly to us. So everybody is going to have to make that individual decision with their families. There is no problem deferring. There's no problem starting. It's your individual situation that's going to determine what you decide to do.
Okay, so next question we see here is, are the universities going to push back their application deadlines for fall 2021? Also, are they going to waive off GRE like some universities have done for fall 2020? So could there be a possibility that
Yeah,
few schools would waive off GRE?
yeah. And Shweta, I have to get into another meeting with the president of the university at
Okay.
9:15. But so GRE has been waived for virtually every program in the United States.
Mhm.
We have become GRE optional for 90% of our programs, even before the virus came. So again, you look at each individual university that you're applying for and see what their policy is. We have waived our GRE for almost all of our programs, but some of our technical programs still want to see it. We still encourage international students to get a GRE, because remember, the people who are deciding your fate are faculty members. They might not know anything about India or a university in India. So they use that GRE to compare you to other schools. Most of the time, schools want to see a 300, which is the 50th percentile. But a lot of schools want to just look at the quantitative score, and they want to see 160, which again is around the 50th percentile. So do your own individual research. Ask questions nonstop. Ask Shweta, ask myself. Really ask questions, because you want to make sure as a graduate student you're applying to the program that's going to help you achieve what you want in the end, whether that is getting a job right after the master's program or whether that's being accepted into a PhD program. You have to plan, because the planning is the key to everything, and then that will help you select the right school, which then helps you get the right job when you graduate. Attending, at my example with law school, attending law school at the University of Toledo, when we're business law and you want to practice criminal law, you're still going to get a law degree, but you're not going to be any farther ahead in what you as an individual want out of life.
All right. Yeah.
Shweta, thank you so much for having me. Really sorry, but the president is calling. Email me with any questions, and we can have another session next week if you would like. Anytime you want a session, just let me know.
Sure. Thank you so much, Victor, for
Thank you very
joining
much.
us on this webinar.
No
And
problem.
we shall get in touch with you in the coming days. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Victor. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, before we conclude, I'm just going to summarize what we discussed in today's webinar. I mean, the situation presently is absolutely unprecedented. Nobody had thought of this particular situation that would ever occur. And keeping everything well in mind, we had planned for the admissions, whether it is for undergraduate program or master's programs. With the present situation, as far as my communication with most of the partner universities happen, the typical options which they will be giving to students is, number one, you can convert your semester online. If you are an undergraduate student, it is absolutely not an issue that you convert your semester online, because you are going to have so many further semesters to go and complete your studies in the United States. So as far as whether you are a transfer student or you are a regular freshman student, if the university has given you a choice to go online, please take that option of online, which will enable you to go ahead without any study breaks. If you are a master student and they have given you an option for online academics, make sure that your program is for full 4 semesters, and then you can take this option of being online and you can go and take 3 semesters over there, which will not hamper your rights of curriculum practical training as well as the OPT, that is optional practical training, which will happen after you graduate. Okay, so these are the online medium options which the universities are offering to the students, and you can take your own choice. Second option is deferring by a semester. If you take up that option, which your parents and you think that it is better to send the children when everything is settled down in the United States, which is also appreciated. But then if you are a final year student, then you would have to do some sort of an profile improvement activities in the time which you get right now. As I mentioned earlier, you could do something live projects. If you don't get a live projects, work on some online programs which will enhance your profile in continuation with your master's or your bachelor's you want to do. So those are the things which you should be doing. You might change the plan to go to different country as well if you feel United States little bit unsafe in terms of number of cases out there, or even the fear of job or employment after you graduate. You even could consider different countries. But remember, like you, there are going to be n number of other students who are going to think that way. Okay, so maybe the next year there could be saturation in some other country. So don't consider changing your plans too much off your ground. Think logical and take that decision. With respect to there was one more vertical which we answered today, that regarding the Trump's policies. H-1B is a type of visa which you require to work in the United States. Okay, and always the number of, it was a lottery system, and the number of cases which, number of visas which were issued every year, the number is 80,000 plus or 86,000. Okay, and that has not changed. Those many visas are offered every year. So the situation has not changed dramatically. The situation has not changed in 180 degrees. It is still the same. Okay, but yes, every country will try to protect. And as my experience goes, if you want to work in the United States, you will get a job provided you have good solid academics and you have good networking in the area, I would say. So keep looking out, keep talking to your career service departments when you go there, and keep yourself updated with respect to the jobs. Whether the job scene will affect, it might affect, but it might not, it will not affect only in the United States. It might affect globally, right? So we have to take that decision, keeping our fingers crossed that yes, I'm going to do well and I will be placed per my profile. So, and I have seen the major recession in the United States in the year 2010, and students absolutely had no problems getting the job then as well. So it's a perception how you see at it, but don't have to get panic. That's what my suggestion to all the students and parents. Yes, situation is different, but then it should surely settle down in couple of months, and in the positive side, of course, because today I had a meeting with Canadian University in the morning, and they are opening up everything in the next week. Okay, so they have stabilized the number of cases and they are going to open. So slowly this will happen across the globe. So yes, it's right now practical thing to think about, but be patient and then take a decision. So I think I have covered most of the points which we discussed. And thank you so much, Shubhra, for organizing this event. And what I would suggest is, if we are unable to answer any of your questions, please feel free to connect with us at contact@admitabroad.com. That's our email ID, and put your questions to us. We will be more than happy to revert individual students with their individual queries, because in these kinds of forums, we practically can handle the questions which are in generic in nature. But if you have specific questions, we would really like to know your profile and then give opinion about your question or answer to your questions. So give a brief about your own profile and then put your question. We surely will revert to you with the answer.
Yes. So
Yeah. So is there anything else, Shubhra, you want me to touch base upon? I can.
I think you have touched base on almost all topics. As you mentioned, yes, we do. We will be very happy and most glad to help all the students with their individual queries. So if at all they have any more questions, you can definitely contact us at contact@admitabroad.com. We'll be replying to all students. I do see a few more questions from a few more students, and they are mostly repeated. There are questions like, how is the process going to be affected for 2021? So yeah, I do think that all the questions have been answered.
Okay.
And
And
thanks so
people
much.
who are in the pre-final years of their undergraduate programs, my genuine advice to them is go with your uh, stipulated plans. Do not deviate right now from your stipulated plans. See, people, see, pandemic is an overall situation across the globe, and it will slowly reduce. It is not going to happen and go like that. So whatever your plans you have thought of, stick to it and keep working towards your plan. There is absolutely no worries to panic at this moment and shift and change. Oh my God, now what should I be doing? So absolutely no need to get panic. Admit Abroad at Vidyalankar is basically offering uh, online education or online training for the examinations like GRE and TOEFL both. The information of the lectures will be conducted through Zoom or any similar channel like that, and you will absolutely be taught the same way we teach in our classrooms. So the information of the same shall be emailed to you after this webinar. please go through those informations, and the batch starting dates also will be announced in the email itself. You have flexible options to recruit for this program, and you could take up modular education with us as well. So all the details will be shared with you over an email, and then our counselors or advisors will get in touch with you individually. So thanks a lot, students, for joining in this webinar, and I hope this webinar was fruitful at the end, and we are welcoming your questions then. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you all students. At Admit Abroad, we do have classes as ma'am mentioned, and we also provide admission consultancy. So if at all, again, you have any questions, you can definitely email us at contact@admitabroad.com. And for everyone who has registered with us, we'll be sending out emails with all the details so that you can go through them and ask us more questions. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye. Stay home, stay safe.